Yeah, I'm good, mate. How have you found this last year, like training because of COVID and that?
This last year, yeah, it's been really good. Like, so I'm very fortunate that I'm very grateful as well that me and my brother and we've been able to train because coming into that elite athlete category. So BST, the BST Academy in Northampton, they've got like a healthy staple of elite fighters. So we've been able to keep up with it all. And my brother's been doing back-to-back fights on Cage Warriors. So training stayed busy for us. Me personally, I've been doing like a lot of teaching. So I've been busy as ever. And what I've been doing, when like lockdown got all strict in that, I got teaching outdoors. So yeah, I didn't slow down in the slightest. To be honest, the teaching, so guys at the gym would be like, well, where you been? But I've been teaching a lot. So
Yeah,
been super busy, probably busier than ever. But I
yeah,
forget this lockdown's happening. Like seriously. Yeah.
yeah. There's obviously a lot of
uh,
great guys training out of BSC at the minute, isn't there?
yeah. We've got current world champion there now.
Jordan, yeah,
That's exciting. Yeah, man.
yeah, not
Um,
bad.
couple former world champions, Modestus, Danny Vanton. Like
Yeah,
it's the place to be. So yeah, it's really good, man. Really good. It's crazy now that it's so busy now. The public are back training with us.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
What's that? What was it like before? I'm not having as many people in the gym. Did you like that or not as
You know what?
much?
I did. I liked it and hated it. No, I liked it and disliked it. Like, the atmosphere was totally different. It was very much business, if you know what I mean. You turn up to training. It's a very intimate group of people. And it was more serious. We all just got our head down and trained. And I think we were just so fortunate. I think like people have not had a lot of stuff to do during lockdown, and they're losing their minds a little bit again. People have been susceptible to certain mental health problems going on recently, and we're so lucky that we've been able to continue with our focusing on our craft. Um, but so it was good because you could get parked at the gym, no problem, easily get parked. There's no queues.
Yeah,
Um, it was proper laid back environment, and we kind of got to training, and we just got stuck in with like the proper fight training because everyone there was fighters. Whereas when it first opened up last time, like just a few weeks back, it was crazy. It was like hundreds of people, like
yeah,
so many people couldn't get parked. Um, and it was like a little bit like, whoa, a bit overwhelming. Like, but it was good just seeing a lot of old faces, like, because the gym is where you see all your friends, and not all of them can train like during like when we're in strict lockdown. Government
mm.
guidance only allows the professional athletes to train. So, uh, I love it both. It's just been busy recently.
It's been a
Yeah,
bit like New Year's where you see a lot of newcomers that drop off after a few weeks.
it's exactly like that. It's like New Year's, but like even more with the ante up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's good, mate. That Katakoli fight last year, that was a
yeah,
good one, weren't it? Obviously, not the result you
proper barn
wanted, but
burner.
yeah, it was good
Yeah,
though.
you know what? Like I was barely even gutted about the loss. Like I've lost before, and I've been like mortified. I kind of hide away for a little while, and I'm just humiliated. But with that fight, it was kind of a crazy time. I was going through a crazy time. I was trying to make lots of adjustments in my personal life, and it wasn't a good place to be fighting from. But I was like, "Fuck this shit. Let's get a fight." And it gave me some focus. Um, so yeah, there's a lot going on right now. So at the time of that fight, I was working from home. So I used to work for Network Rail, great company to work for, but doing a desk job. And then during because of the pandemic, I got to work from home. I've got not the proper furniture to work from, and I was getting like serious tech neck working like this, and serious back problems. Um, and then when I walked into the fight, I just felt like a statue. I was like, I couldn't feel my feet beneath me. My footwork was bollocks. Like,
Mm.
but the fight itself, I thought was incredible. Like, I've not watched it back too much because I don't like to watch my losses. It hurts me a little bit, but and I thought, fuck, that's a crazy fight. Like the fans getting their money's worth there, and as long as I perform my best on the day, and as long as I give it my all, and I never quit, I'm always happy, really. I do think I'm the better fighter. I think I've got more talent. You didn't get to see it in that fight, but when he hit me with that knee in round one, early in round one, my head was pretty gone for rest of the fight. You know,
Yeah.
like I was like, you seen
You kept
Frankie
attacking
Edgar?
the submissions though, weren't you, on the ground, like the leg locks and that?
Yeah,
You weren't like a yeah.
I can do that in my sleep. I kid you not. I Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is perhaps one of the areas that I'm most passionate about. I'm only purple belt, but I love the nogi, and I just like, no matter how fucked I am after work or whatever, I turn up and I roll, and I just want to keep rolling. Um, and I watch about. I just kept slipping off the heel. I wanted to get that bite point, but he knew what I was going for. Um, and my leg lock game is getting a lot better now. I'm a very high level grappler. When I do just for fun, I'll do like gi and no gi comps, and I'll do the no gi at the black belt level always. And so like, yeah, my grappling's super strong, and in that fight, I'm like scrambling around, and I just think the difference between me not getting them finishes was the fact that my head weren't 100% there. After eating that knee, I was proper dizzy, proper dizzy. It's like, when you wake up in the morning and when you first wake up and you're a bit like, oh, like proper drowsy. I felt like that for the entire fight, and I kid you not, I'm just kind of like, I impressed myself that I could kind of fight on in that state.
Yeah.
I had a lot of willpower on that day. I knew I ate a huge shot, and like, I'm not going down. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this. And I kept believing I was going to win to the end. And it wasn't quite enough, but you could see my willpower really coming through in the third round. The tide was changing. I was passing the guard, keeping him pinned. I do think I'm the higher grappling pedigree. I just think that's years of experience I've got. But he played his game well, and he caught him. Funny enough, that fight was interesting because it was like a giant car meet in Norwich. And
Yeah,
I
it was
always, if I can
open
see,
air, weren't it?
yeah, if I see my opponents on the day, I'll scope them out a little bit. And I see he was, I was keeping an eye on him, stalking him a little bit, and I see he was drilling that knee. Like, it was just throwing knees into like doing a shadow box and throwing knees. And I thought, hey, he's not going to get me with that. And he did.
Yeah.
It's just like, honestly, this game's just, you got to be concentrating all the time. That was just a second lapse of concentration, and he capitalized, landed that knee, took me off the feet. But as soon as he comes into the guard, I'm already like attacking armbar. He knows that. He pulls out, and then I roll over, and then I'm scrambling for the legs. Like, you train so much that you can actually perform these techniques like when you're not even there. And the best example is really to watch Frankie Edgar, like in the Gray Maynard fights, and he gets absolutely starched, but he goes 5 rounds like fully half conscious. And it's just that the drilling is that impeccable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the subconscious takes over. You don't have to
Yeah.
really think about these things when you train so hard.
To give you more confidence in your chin, knowing that you can sort of take a blow like that and keep going.
You know what?
I mean, obviously, no one plans
Yeah.
to take that sort of damage, do they? But
It's important to know that you can take a punch in a fight, and me and Tom can definitely take one hell of a punch. But I don't ever intend to rely on my chin, ever. Like, well, there's some fights like when I fought in Margate a few years back, the guy was a hell of a lot bigger than me. And then you see Tom when you like fought what's his face, Aiden Lee. When the guy's so much bigger, you kind of know you're gonna have to take a few to give a few, if you know what I mean. So in them kind of fights where you're
to
giving
get
up a lot
past
of
his
size
reach, do you mean?
advantage,
Sort of.
yeah, where you're gonna have to get past your opponent's reach. Them sort of fights, you're gonna have to take a shot sometimes, but it's more about calculating risk. Like, if he's gonna land a jab, it's gonna cost him because I'm gonna land a cross hook leg kick, if you know what I mean. Or as he comes into my range, throwing these strikes, that's gonna help me close the distance and then get the takedown. So yeah, it does give me confidence knowing that that I'm strong enough to take damage, and I don't ever intend to take damage ever again. I'd rather be a bit more like Israel Adesanya, like come out looking pretty still after
Yeah.
the fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How are you feeling
So
about
yeah, I've been working. Oh,
how you feeling
go ahead.
about Brock Osby coming into your fight with him in August? Is it?
Yeah,
I think.
August 7th. Yep.
Yeah.
Really confident. I need to study him some more. I've done a bit of study, and I thought, this is a good fight. I like a fight that's going to motivate me to get up, get training. So I looked at him, and he's very strong. He's a really physical guy. Like, he's stacked, absolutely stacked. If he's relying on his physicality, that's going to be his downfall. It's a lightweight fight. In time, I will aim to go down to featherweight. But no, I'm really excited about it. I think our styles match up really well. And I honestly, it's gonna sound cocky, but I don't care. I just think I do everything that he does, and I do it better. That's why I'm confident in this fight. Like, he's got good grappling. He's got pretty crisp hands. Don't want to get punched by that guy because he is very strong and powerful. And I just think I'm going to be too fast for him. I think speed is going to be a big factor for me. I will counter his power with my speed. And I'm not just talking about fast hands. I'm talking about quick decision making. So, you know, he's going to feel like every decision he makes is going to be a mistake. So, yeah.
You said about studying him. Do you study a lot of your opponents a lot, watching their old fights and that?
I actually don't. I know a lot of fighters will, like some guys like Jordan, he really studies his opponents. He's super disciplined, like, and he'll know exactly what he's gonna do. See, I love fighting. I just really enjoy it, and I'll study my opponent so I know what I'm getting into, if you know what I mean. But there's only a few times where I've obsessed over them, picking apart their technique. But it's weird. I like to get in there and let the fight unfold, if you know what I mean. Like, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, and then you could study your opponent, and I always expect they're going to come with different game. I know my opponents are studying me, and they'll be like, oh, he's got his tight guard, hands always here, his footwork's this, he likes to throw these techniques. So I can't keep doing that. I've got to come with something different every time. And if my opponent's smart, they're going to change it a little bit. So I do study them, but it's only to know what I'm going up against and to sort of like understand a few of the patterns. But other than that, I like to go in there and just react, let the fight unfold.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that that sort of tight guard, because that's do you have a background in Muay Thai? Because that's not a sort of from Muay Thai. That's more of sort of a boxing stance, is it?
Yeah, I feel like so the stance, like, me and Tom have got like a bit of a unique sort of like MMA stance, and it's very much inspired by Danny Batten. How he's gotten us to sort of tighten up our form a lot more, keep the elbows in front of the body, and kind of like shrink the body so that more of it fits behind the guard. Because what you notice is in like sort of classic boxing, it's like head, body, head, body. But we've kind of developed a system where we change our entire posture so that you've got the hands on the chin and your elbows are near the hip bone. So and I do have a Muay Thai background. That's kind of what started me in the full contact fighting. So me and Tom did Taekwondo from 8 upwards. When I was 17, I started doing Thai kickboxing. When I was 18, I started fighting, and it would be like literally every month. I really just got hooked on the buzz of it. I like just that thrill of it. And then it was Danny Batten that really got me to tidy up my guard, because it was a little bit like, you know, the Thai boxers have a bit of a split guard going on. I did used to swing a little bit, but I've tidied it up now.
Yeah, I think it works. I think it works quite
definitely,
well, because I hope you don't mind me saying, you and Tom are both quite smaller guys, if you're not.
Dumpy, yeah, it's true.
So I think it sort of suits that as well.
Yeah, you say what you want. They call me and Tom the garden gnomes at DST.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not get offended. Like, yeah, we got short range fighters, so make it work to our advantage.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this stance sort of suits that. Like,
so in this next fight, you can expect some like good dirty boxing in the pocket. But you know, I'll see where he wants to take it, and I'll react from there.
Yeah. So you don't mind where it goes then, on the floor, on the feet?
No. I tend not to, for whatever reason, I tend not to engage the grappling much. I just strike, let it flow from there. I'm super confident with my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So if they go for the takedown, I'm able to react. But ideally, I've got, because me and Tom are short fighters, we've got really low center of gravity. I'm quite hard to take down. Like even in my last fight when colleague took the back, and I'm still at this point, I was fresh after the knee, but I was able to hip throw him over from like a Kimura grip, and I hip through him over the top of like a Uchimata throw, and then come on top. And so I'm confident with my wrestling, and it's one of my weak areas though, and I need to develop that. But if it's on the ground, like I'm strong in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and if it's on the feet, well, that's kind of where I got started with. I couldn't actually say which is my strong point anymore, because I don't know. I feel like my style's still always changing.
Yeah, I feel like your style's quite different in each of your fights. Sort of,
yeah.
Was it the Scott Butters fight? You were quite keen to take the fight to the ground.
Yes, that for me was an obvious one, because Scott's like well versed everywhere, and then he did. I was actually the bigger fighter. People thought because he was coming down from lightweight that he was going to be the bigger one. He was more rangy, but I actually had the size advantage in that fight, because I got a really thick frame. But I seen him fight, and I knew he's got good hands. He's got good ground, but I looked at his ground and I thought it is no way near mine. So for me, that fight was just too obvious. It was get it to the ground, and you've like eliminated all the risk. So I got him to the ground in round one, and with all respect to Scott, he just felt quite helpless compared, because every time he moved, I would react, follow up with the ground and pound. So he's forced to shell up, and when he's shelling up, he's not countering. And then round one went again, round two, and then the submission just came quick. I didn't really plan it. I just reacted to whatever he did, and the whole thing fell into play. I attacked for that triangle choke, which needed to be better. That's how he escaped the triangle choke. But of course, the armbar was there straight away. And I think if you fall into an armbar, like with me, I do a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments, and jiu-jitsu is all about respect as well. But I do put my arm bars on quite hard, and I've got a strong, small core frame. So when I put them on, a lot of my opponents don't actually have time to tap. They just yelp. That's all they've got time for. So I don't know if you saw when I won, I've got it actually here, when I won the Fight Star belt in amateur, that I won that by armbar, and the guy had literally no time to tap. All you heard was like a scream, and then I let go because I put it on quick. So yeah.
How did you find the ground, the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu coming from a striking background at a young age?
I was quite natural to it, I honestly believe, and that's because I'm a twin. So it is a big advantage in this sport. Like when I'm teaching, and I get some young ones come in, and I see they're quite handy already. And I'll be like, oh, have you ever trained before? And they'll be like, oh, no, never trained. I'm like, interested. Do you have any older brothers by any chance? And then usually if it's the first class and I find they're quite good, and I say, you got any older brothers? They were like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, that's why. So yeah, the grappling was natural for me because literally growing up, me and Tom just would fight like every day. You know what I mean? Like just play fighting, like just two little bear cubs just trashing the house. Parents would get annoyed, like things get broken.
I was gonna say, but the parents loved it,
right? yeah. No, it's yes. So the grappling was natural for me because I'd kind of been doing it instinctively for my whole life, if you know what I mean. Like you got a brother, you think like, let's go tackle my brother, let's try beat him up, just for fun. So yeah, that was natural for me. What wasn't natural was the striking. And I started by chance all of that first. Taekwondo, I learned how to kick before I could punch. So when I did my first Thai boxing class and first started sparring, I could barely throw a punch. I could hit the pad to make a nice sound, but everyone was just punching me up, like people that are quite amateur, like, and they could box me up, and I just couldn't box, but I could kick. So as soon as they stepped out of range, it was like, head kick. So I've learned the whole game backwards. I honestly believe.
Yeah.
But it's good. That's why I like MMA. It's all personal. It's all everyone's different, and it's individual journey for each person.
That KO finish at the end of your amateur career was a great, like with the head kick.
Yes.
I can't remember the opponent's name now. Sorry, but yeah.
Adam Butterworth.
Yeah.
That was like one of my best moments in MMA. And I'm trying to like not forget it. I need to like, that's in the past. Do you know what I mean? And like, there's many more moments to come. But this is why I'm excited to fight on AFC again. So that was my last amateur fight. At that point, I think I was number 8 ranked in the UK and Ireland amateur. And then it all went a bit Pete Tong when I went pro. Because like life commitments, work commitments. At amateur, it was quite easy. And then pro, it does get more difficult. So
in what aspects do you think it changes them?
Well, it does feel different getting punched in the 4-ounce glove, for sure. It's more of an impact. If anything, no gloves would be nicer because they can't punch as hard. But it was more like pressure. And I think failing my first pro debut, then the pressure got a lot for me. And
am I correct in saying you were undefeated throughout your amateur career?
No, I wasn't. No, I actually lost my first couple amateurs. So, people do think I was undefeated. It's just like, I think at this time Tapology wasn't about. So I went on that like a 4-year undefeated streak. So that's why people think I was undefeated. So yeah, no, I know about losing. I'm learning from it. I'm gonna go forward. So the things I've learned with my losses in my pro career, and I should have learned this much quicker, but you got to get your life in order to fight. So what I've actually been working on this year is creating balance in my life. Do you know what I mean? So I quit my job, my office job. I'm now roofing, and I'm literally just getting stronger every day by turning up to work. So, and it is very physical. Some days I can't get to the gym because I'm that tired. But when I do get to the gym, people are like, Jesus, you've been hitting gym. And I'm like, nope, just lifting hundreds of tiles on my shoulder, carrying it up 3 stories, getting a tan at the same time. And then I'm actually looking to do more and more with the coaching. I've had some golden opportunities come up recently. So I honestly, by the time the fight comes around, I'm aiming to be full-time in the martial arts. And that's
so not roofing difference anymore, or we just doing the coaching? Just
coaching. That's the plan. Yep.
Yeah. What were you struggling to balance in your life before making those changes?
It was the work. It was literally the work. When you go, a professional athlete needs to be a full-time athlete because you're fighting other professional athletes. And like you can't be getting, it's got to be your singular focus. You can't be having your focus pulled here and your focus pulled there. So I've got a lot of less things now pulling my focus in different directions, and it's just training. So yeah, I've actually got some big news that I won't announce just yet because there's a few things standing in the way.
I was going to be like, go on, announce it. Go on. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, I want to like but time. It's one of these things. Time's going to tell. Big opportunity. And it's going to help me make more of my fighting career. It's a big opportunity. So I'll as soon as I can confirm it, I'll drop you a message and we can talk about that because I would love to talk about it.
Let's do it.
I can't just yet. Yeah. I'm not even going to say anything else.
I was like, go on.
But it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you saying? Sorry, you said about your losses at the start of your professional career before.
Yes.
What do you think you've learned from each of the losses in your professional career?
Oh, okay.
Because obviously they say you learn more from your losses than you do your victories.
Okay. So losing my pro debut, so I come off that like it's that most spectacular knockout in AFC, and then I lose my pro debut. I did actually train very hard for the pro debut, But that was to actually realize that no matter what, you're always most vulnerable when you're in there. And that was to humble me a little bit. That was to bring me back down to earth. And like, I was kind of like, I'm a humble guy, but I was really rating myself a bit too much. And like, you gotta love yourself. You gotta think the world of yourself, but you've always got to ask yourself, what can I do better? What can I improve on? And you got to take every opponent very seriously, because that opponent that finished me in my pro debut, he's nothing. Like, he's terrible, But he beat me on the day. It's who turns up on the day.
Julian Summit, wasn't it?
Boutex.
Yeah. I didn't want to try and pronounce his last name. I was too scared to.
I can't do it either. Yeah. I did actually get a little bit sick after the fight though. So more prep with the weight cut is needed. So there was issues with the weight cut in that fight, and it was more. I also for that fight, because it was my pro debut, I never had so many people turn up and watch me. So I was a little bit. My head's in the cage. Part of my head was outside of the cage. Got my girlfriend watching. Got my family watching. Got my missus's family watching. And that your head shouldn't be anywhere else other than in the cage. So it's more like maximum focus in the day. More attention to detail when cutting weight. So since then, after that fight, I actually went up to lightweight for 3 fights. Lightweight is a dead easy cut for me. And then I moved back down to featherweight to fight Scott Butters. And that was the first time in my life that I actually got some advice from a nutritionist. I do all this stuff myself. I research on Google. I experiment with like different diets on myself. And you can't be experimenting with a professional career. You got to have it sorted. So the next time I went to featherweight, I got a nutritionist. I worked with Dean Kirk, and the cut went phenomenal. And you could see in that fight, I was massive for a featherweight. So that's that first loss. That's what I've learned from. Sort your weight cut out. Be humble. Keep your focus in the cage. Nothing else exists. I think like there's times in my life where because I've been fighting for a long time now, like full contact fighting for like over 10 years, probably like 11 years. And when I was kickboxing, I'll be fighting like every other month. And I actually got blasé about it. Like, oh, this is just what I do, isn't it? Like, oh, I've done this a million times before. Like, oh, let's just fight. Like, you got to take it way more serious than that. It's not just, yeah, it's fun, but it's not just a bit of fun. It's got to get more serious. And then where was the other loss? Okay, the other one.
Are you always quite relaxing? Sorry, when you're in the cage.
Yeah, I am. I'm quite relaxed on fight day. It's stupid. Like I get nervous. If you don't get nervous, it's usually there's something wrong, and it's probably that you're a bit stupid. Do you know what I mean? I get nervous, but yeah. I'm quite relaxed because I just fully accept what it is. Oh, I know I can get hurt. I've been hurt. I've seen my brother get really hurt. And I still want to do this. So yeah, no, I'm very relaxed. It's more of a fear of losing. That's what will get me more. Yeah, and then the Terry Doyle fight, that was, I was going for featherweight. So that was, I was going for featherweight. I was supposed to fight Bain Dundavan. I was near the featherweight cut. And then on the week, my opponent pulls out. I honestly think because he's scared. I honestly believe that. And then they get me a lightweight fight last minute. So it was more with that fight, I was caught off guard. And I think coming down to, it's funny enough, I was still the bigger guy, but my body was kind of ready for a featherweight fight. And if I'm going to be fighting at lightweight, I want to be carrying some extra timber. So when he hit me in round 1, it just felt like the punches felt like a bit of a weight class apart. They actually did. So for me, that was more like better decision making as needed. And also because it was short notice, it's study your opponent first. Like do some more studying. Like I was gutted that my opponent pulled out. And I thought, well, I'm not going to not have a fight. I've put all this hard work in. So when they come through with Terry Doyle, I just thought, yep, okay, I'll have it. I didn't really think it through that much, if you know what I mean. And I can beat Terry Doyle. I'm the better fighter, not on the day. He was the better fighter on the day, and if you watch the fight, it was so simple. He was just countering. He just kept catching my jab, catching my cross, and returning with a heavier one. So my boxing needed to work with that. And the last one, this is get your life in order before you fight.
Yeah.
Which is what I've been working on this year.
Yeah.
Don't be doing it from a place of chaos, because fighting is chaos anyway. Have your P's and Q's sorted.
Do you think just like psychology coming into a fight plays a big part in it then?
Yes, it's perhaps the biggest factor.
Yeah.
The world's mental. It's a very mental game. It's mostly mental. The mental aspect of MMA, in my opinion, is far more important than the physical. And you can see it when you're in that higher level. I mean, look at Sean O'Malley. He is a big guy actually, but like you see some fighters and they don't really look like incredible athletes. You're like, really? But they're so sharp. So the mental side of the game is most important.
Yeah. You said about the difference in weight classes. Do you see your future at heavyweight then?
Yeah, I do enjoy my food.
Heavyweight, featherweight. Sorry,
Featherweight.
that would be a jump up,
Yeah,
right?
I will. I see a future in both divisions, but like if when you start going to the higher platforms and the higher level of competition, I do know I will need to be featherweight. So this next one's lightweight because I'm roofing at the moment. I can't really be cutting because a featherweight cut is really difficult. And some days I work 12 hours on site, might be longer, and then I've got to try get to training in the evening after doing 12 hours. I can't really be doing that on a calorie restricted diet. So for the time being, it's lightweight because I can just all I need to do is focus on being strong, healthy, and just focus on my craft. When I cut to featherweight, every day is like, what am I eating for breakfast? What am I eating for lunch? What am I eating for dinner? What time am I eating? Whereas like I will do a full day roofing. As soon as I get home, I might be like, shit, I'm already late for training. I've got to be out the door. And I have to make a decision then. It's like, do I eat now or do I eat after training? I'll get on the road. I'll go to Northampton. I'll come home and it'll be like 10:30, maybe 11. And I think, oh, I can't eat today. That's just, it's that brutal, this game. It's like how much effort you got to put in. So the days I don't eat because I don't have the time, but it's like, I just eat when I'm hungry. And I don't have an eating pattern. I just eat when I can get the food, when I've got some time to eat. And mostly I've been living off pastries doing this roofing job. Yeah, it's just like
that must be brutal. That getting back at like 10:30.
Yeah.
And I have to obviously get up early again to be on site again the next day.
Yeah, it's crazy. So basically to make featherweight, I need to free up some more time to really plan my meals. I do eat well. I do live a good lifestyle, but I can't really plan my weeks that good until I'm a full-time athlete. So I know I'm gonna do more lightweight fights. Maybe get a food sponsor or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see. But the future, long time, is going to be at featherweight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you find the motivation on days like that when you've been putting the hours in on site and then you got to go to training and put the work in there as well?
It's more like, recently it's been getting the better of me sometimes because a lot recently, because I've got to get to the end of the week as well, and I need to be ready to teach on Saturday. So on a Saturday I'll teach from like this morning I started at 8 a.m. but I'll teach from like 8 a.m. all the way to 3 p.m. One-to-ones back to back. So and like, I know that's not professional fight training, but every week I'm going over my fundamentals all the time. I'm talking the most basic footwork, the most basic jab cross, your head movement, shoulder, turning the shoulders like between every punch, pivoting on the foot, like the most basic fundamentals. And I've really been nailing that all year. So I honestly believe all this effort I've been putting with teaching is going to come through in the fight. So on days like that when I just can't get to training, sometimes I might have to just admit defeat because I'm thinking I've got to think about the next day. Am I going to be healthy the next day? can I make the money teaching on the weekend if I exhaust myself? But usually it just takes a hell lot of willpower, and which I've got. You see that come through in the fights. So it's literally just a matter of willpower. It's like a mental exercise. Usually when you can like bite the bullet, like get on the M1, drive to training, by the time you're at training, you forget how tired you are, you forget how hungry you are, and you're just having fun. So yeah, it's more the case of just getting there.
Yeah.
And then once you're at the gym, you're fine. Yeah.
I think it's important though, like you said, knowing not to burn out and knowing when too much is too much, like you're saying, when to take the day off.
Yeah, I take a much more mature approach to my training now. I'm like more about looking after my health, because I know how to fight. I've been doing it for such a long time. I've got so much more improvements that need to be made. I'm working on my fundamentals all the time. And closer to the fight, I'll be doing more specific fight training. So currently, like, I've just been working, like training, working, teaching. Like, I've just been every day. I'm thinking like I've got to be a better Richard than I was yesterday. That's how I'm heading towards the fight for the time being. As we get closer, then I'll start tailoring the training for me. What do I need to do on a Monday? What skill sets do I really need to improve to beat this guy? So as we get closer to the fight, I'll start tailoring the training specifically for myself. But I'm fit. I did Shark Tank rounds last Monday, so that's 25 minutes. So you do 5-minute rounds. It'll be specific like wall wrestling drills, or opponent will be in my guard, ground and pound, trying to keep me down. I've got to get to my feet. So there'll be a different scenario with each round, and you have a fresh opponent for every minute of the 5-minute rounds. So 25 minutes, that's like, what's 25 times? What's 5? Oh, I can't do the maths. Anyway, so it's a lot of new opponents coming through.
Yeah.
I did that last Monday. I didn't think I was that fit, but I was able to do it. As I got fatigued, the people were getting the upper hand on me, but that's the point of these Shark Tanks, is to exhaust me, and then I have to fight from like an exhausted state. And I did fine in that. And I want to do more of that to the point where I'm actually winning every minute of the round. That's when I get to that point, that's when I'm like, yeah, I'm fight ready. So yeah, just keep working hard.
You said about tailoring training for yourself. In fight camps, do you often tailor your training for each opponent as well?
Yes. Yeah. Like, the person that I can do that with really is my brother. Like, because other people got their fights going on. So usually it's just like we turn up, we practice a technique, we all train the same technique, and then we do some rolling, then we do some sparring. Everyone's got to get something out of training. And if my opponent has a very specific skill set, I'll need to speak to someone and say, look, can you like emulate this for me? So for my brother's last opponent, for example, he had a very savvy Taekwondo background. You didn't see this guy play his Taekwondo in the fight at all. He threw one spinning back kick, and that's because that's the only space Tom gave him for that.
Was this, Yassine?
So Yassine, yes.
Yeah.
So what I was doing is, end of a session, I'll be like, look, Tom, I'm just going to throw furious kicks at your face, deal with it. Like, and so he would be like, I'll be throwing hook kicks, back kicks, like turning kick 180s, because he likes to do the kicks with a lot of panache on it, you know. So I would throw that at Tom, and he'll be like, right, I'm going to footwork away from this, or try and counter with a takedown, things like that. So yeah, I will specify certain things, but I haven't really fought anyone as of recent that's got such a strange style like that.
Yeah.
All kind of like very your typical MMA blueprint, if you know what I mean.
Quite well-rounded fighters.
Yeah, everyone's pretty much well-rounded these days. You can expect wrestling to a certain level, boxing to a certain level, and like average kicks.
Yeah, you're saying you said before about having your mind in other places with like your girlfriend and your family watching you and stuff for your fights.
Yeah.
How was it last year? Well, obviously no crowd, no audience there. It was just you.
Yeah, you know, it was crazy. My mind was fully in the fight with the last one. It was very interesting because I was the co-main event of Contenders' last fight, so it was a bit breezy. it got dark by the time I got in the cage, and you get nice little winds just like touching your bare body, and like, chilling. It was a totally different experience.
Yeah.
And then when I get taken off my feet with the knee, I'm like, boof, I land on the canvas. I'm like, oh, and all I can hear is doo doo doo, like everyone's just honking their car horns, and I'm like, what the hell? Have I fallen in a road or something? Like, but no, honestly, last time, like, I did. It was a proper cool experience, but none of that stuff bothered me. And I'd say it was only my pro debut. That's the only other time where I've kind of like not been fully in the cage, if you know what I mean. Other than that, it's such a dangerous situation that you're walking into. You kind of have, your mind can't be anywhere else. It demands all of your attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, walkout song for was Mask Off, weren't it?
Yes.
Thought that was quite ironic.
yeah. They actually tried to make me wear the mask as well when I was walking in. I was like, no, fuck this.
Oh,
like,
for your walkout?
I'm gonna go. Yeah. I had to. They said, put your mask on. I was like, no, I'm gonna go like grapple the guy.
Yeah.
Why do I need a mask?
Yeah, I've seen it. Obviously,
but, yeah.
I've seen it like weigh-ins and that, but I've not seen anyone like wear it. But be told to wear it for like a walkout or.
I'm glad you picked up on that. Like that was a deliberate thing I did. Mask off by future, and no one else picked up on it because I'm very much not about the mask. I don't think it's backed by any proper science, and then like a smile. Do you know what I mean? I think people like it's kind of like anti-human, isn't it? If you're just talking like this all the time and you can't see my expression, that's no way to live. So I was making a statement with that, but no one else picked up on it. You know, that's the thing. If you're going to be a professional athlete, it's like, well, stand for something, you know. And like it's a performance art at the end of the day. So them little things, your walkout songs, your entrance, they all count for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
I'm looking forward to seeing what this announcement's going to be.